I will say this is, my week with this vehicle ends and I have to give it back. And I don't say this just because one of my most expensive press cars I've had. I will miss it. There is something about a Land Cruiser, and if you've ever driven one, you'll know what I mean, where it's just like a special vehicle. It's so capable, it's so luxurious, it does everything so well that you can't help but kind of love it. That's, I think, why it's such a legendary name and legendary vehicle. I am here with what is the most expensive Toyota, the Land Cruiser for 2018.
I really like this new front. It's sophisticated. If you put a Lexus badge on there, no one would doubt that it was a Lexus, because this car is actually very close to Lexus. Love the LED headlights in there. It looks, masculine, rugged, yet also a little bit classy and sophisticated, like a car in this price point should. It might be a little bland and generic. I think that would be the one critique. Coming around to the side here, it has that very classical Land Cruiser profile, and the hood is really cool. I'll show how it looks from inside later, but I like the way they did that. But yeah, from the side you can definitely tell this is a Land Cruiser. It has running boards, which is helpful because it's actually pretty high up. Coming around the back here, there's LEDs. It's pretty distinctive. It has a unique look to it. Again, much like the side. I like how they kept the bumper kind of low, so you can actually load things in pretty easily, as I'll show you later when I show you that area.
It's got that big 5.7 liter V8. It's got the iForce technology, even if it doesn't have the branding. You could even fit a bigger engine in there. I'm just kind of surprised that it has all this extra open space. I'm sure in the redesign, they'll probably, bring this back and down as well. Really, strong hood on here. So a few areas of improvement early on with this vehicle, just to get them out of the way, and then talk about all the good things about it, is probably first and foremost what I've noticed is just the gas mileage. I love that Toyota and Lexus have naturally aspirated V8s, especially in cars. It's becoming more rare. Even in trucks, they're starting to go turbocharged and downsize. And SUVs, is even more so probably than trucks. So I like the naturally aspirated V8, but, the gas mileage is quite painful. I guess on the other hand, if you're paying, $90,000 for these, and these are even hold up really well in the used market, which I'll talk about a little bit later. So maybe, a turbocharger on top of a slightly smaller V8, might be something they'll plan in, the refresh. Let me start off on the interior, and I often combine a lot of the features with the interior because, there's buttons for them, so I can kind of show you the buttons and what they do. It's going to be a little bit longer this time. It could be a Doug DeMuro type review, just of all the, random kind of cool features this SUV has. A whole video, I feel like, practically on just the off-road features. This guy says Land Cruiser with that little pattern there, so you're getting something special. Granted, when you turn around on the front, it still does say Toyota, but I like that. That's pretty neat. The interior this is extremely nice. I actually gave a Lexus owner a ride in this, and they couldn't see much of a difference. You get the wood steering wheel. You don't get a lot of choice on options on this guy. I'll go through those a little bit. Most of them are standard with it. A nice center stack here. There's only one USB slot in the entire vehicle that I found, which is right there. You can stick your phone in there and use, if you have wireless charging, and just put it right in that cubby there. Yeah, there's like leather coverings here. Really the only part of black plastic on this car is this bit here, and I think the Lexus differs from that, but you still get wood. You get, the different types of metal there and wood, as well as the leather. On this guy are extremely nice and very comfortable too. Coming around to the back here, lots and lots of leg room. As you can see, I can fold my legs. So 2 6-feet people would be good to go in this car. You also get this nice leather cover. That is actually the only option on this car, coming in about just over $2,000. I would probably skip that. Also down here, one nice thing you don't get in a lot of, Toyota SUVs is the heated seats. You can do high or low. And then it's a 4-zone climate control, believe it or not. So everybody gets their own choice. Features on this guy, it's pretty impressive. There are headlight washers, as you can see. Also power folding mirrors where you can set it to fold automatically when the car is locked, auto high beam headlights, and a parking system as well. All standard on this car, which for the price I expect, so that's very nice. Coming over, there's some tech. It's not as high as other Toyotas. The lane departure only warns. It doesn't keep you in the lane. I'm sure that'll be in the redesign. Also, this is a little different than on some Toyotas, which have like a four-way. It's up, down, and then if you want to go left, right, say, on this, it's a different button. I'll talk about all the off-road capacity of this guy in a little bit, and it's pretty impressive. Like I said, coming down here, this is probably the best JBL system I've had. It's called the Synthesis. It has surround sound. It's definitely up there with like a Harman Kardon system, something, you know, as you'd expect in this price of vehicle. This little slot here is where you insert the maps. Coming down here, you do get heated and cooled seats with an automatic mode, so it'll heat them or cool them. So if it's really hot, it'll turn the cooling on automatically. If it's really cold, it'll turn the heating on. As well as ECT power. That seems a little bit redundant with sport mode because they both basically just shift you a little later. I assume this shifts you a little faster. Maybe an owner can tell me in the comments. ECT second is almost like a snow mode on some cars. It'll start you in second gear. This if you need to get out of something where you're stuck and the traction control is hurting you. This guy here, this here locks your diffs rather. This is kind of cool. This actually allows you to turn your wheels a little further than you normally would. It's called the turn assist function. The turn assist is only available when you're in crawl control mode. This is, it's not a hill descent control per se. It's actually, as you can see, the car's going up the hill, so it's a hill assist. Easy enough to get this guy into four-wheel low mode. Get those modes activated. You have to put it in four-wheel drive low. When you do put it in four-wheel low, it does turn the stability control off and the pre-collision braking off, which, makes sense. And then there's the different effects down here. There's mud and sand. There is loose rock. There is mogul. You'll have to tell me in the comments what that is, or I'll overlay it. Rock and drift mode, or just rock mode. I could do a whole video just on this system. Where things get really cool is that it has an around view camera of your car, so you can see if you're gonna hit anything. And it also has like the angles of the car, which is super handy as well. And then of course the rear view camera, so you can see kind of what's behind you. All right, so now we're in crawl control, and you can actually set the speed for that with this mode here, so that's really cool. And again, I think it defaults when you're in this mode to this, which shows actually the angle of your steering wheel there, which is pretty handy. And then it has this display changes a little bit as well. And then you can activate that steering mode. As you see, that's on because there's this, and let me just show you. It really does let you turn your wheels far. So the off-road capacities, I just wanted to talk about them. I'm going to talk more in the drive review about the on-road capacities of this vehicle, which are what I think most people will do the majority of the time, perhaps. Another nice thing that not all vehicles have, it'll monitor your tires. Also, the spare tire has a pressure monitor. There's no worse thing about finding out your spare is flat if you need to go change it, or especially with the off-road, you could puncture it since it's exposed under the vehicle. This guy does have is it has a split console where you can just put small things up here, and then this one has a cooled box. You turn it on, you can probably hear, and you can definitely feel it is cool. I wish it wasn't quite as large, and it would just like run the main air conditioning through, because you can't really put like a to-go box. You can definitely put drinks in there, and like maybe if you went fishing. And it is very, very deep, I will say that. I can almost fit my whole arm in here, but it is very narrow as well. A power lift gate back here, which is really nice, and this has what I wish all SUVs had, which is it is split. So if you just need to put groceries or any item right here, you can do that. You can bring this down as well, and it's kind of like a tailgate from a truck. There is storage in both of these, which is nice. The only thing, and I'm sure they'll fix this in the redesign, these don't fold flat. They only fold up, as you can see there. So it kind of impedes a little bit on your storage. So Toyota's done a great job modernizing this and keeping it modern. It's definitely more so than the Tundra, for example. But the thing is, it's still a little bit aging, so I'm sure there's going to be a replacement model soon, which will probably fix most of the issues that I'll bring up, which are areas for improvement for the next one. Unlike the Tundra, where you can order a bigger fuel tank, I don't believe you can order a bigger fuel tank on this guy, so the range is just not great, for lack of a better word. It's just a few hundred miles. Also, the air suspension, it doesn't come with. It would really help because it rides pretty well like a luxury vehicle for sure. You still feel a little bit, but more so because it is heavy and it does lean. You know, having an air suspension. They do put the air suspension on the Lexus, so I think the big ways to differentiate the Lexus are the air suspension and then also the nicer interior on that guy, besides, of course, the badging. Because otherwise, they are much, much closer than other, you know, Toyota Lexus vehicles. The engines have the exact same power, things like that. They did update this and put an 8-speed transmission in, but again, Toyota builds all the, you know, Priuses and like smaller and hybrid type vehicles like that, so they can afford to put these big naturally aspirated V8s in here and not worry too much. And if you're spending $90,000, and that's what this guy costs on this vehicle, perhaps, you know, fuel economy is not a huge thing to you. With the entertainment package and the destination, this is almost a $90,000 vehicle. 87, you can get it for like 83 plus destination if you go without that entertainment package and just, you know, give whoever's back there an iPad or something. It saves a little money. I think a lot of buyers of this are people who want to keep a low profile. They obviously have a lot of money. Let me know in the comments if, you know, you're a buyer who's not in this category. You tend to probably off-road a lot because otherwise there's other big SUVs that are as luxurious, as nice for a lot less money. And you know, you probably live, a lot of these sell in, I believe, like, you know, South Africa, South America, places like that where you want a very capable SUV, you want something very luxurious, but you want something that's kind of a little bit lower profile. Most people looking at this might think it's like a Highlander or, you know, other large Toyota SUV. Another pro over this, say you're between this and a Range Rover and you're like, wow, the money's fairly close, on them, these hold their value exceptionally well, which leads me to, I would probably, if you know that seems like a lot of money for the new one, look on the used market. They have depreciated a little bit, but overall they do hold their value. Things I like about this SUV are that it's very comfortable. It's, you know, as comfortable as any luxury SUV out there. And it's also, once it gets up and goes, it's fairly quick, about, you know, just under 400 horsepower, 400 foot-pounds of torque. Same engine you'd find in like the big Tundra or anything like that. So once you put it in sport mode, you know, good sound there too in sport for this review. Also, when you go around a turn, it leans a little bit, but it's, for something this big and heavy, it leans less than you would think. That's something else in the redesign. I'm sure they'll make it lighter. I've seen a lot of trucks this year, you know, be going several hundred pounds lighter, which makes a big difference. And you can still keep it pretty rugged. The steering on this I actually like. It's still mechanical, I'm pretty sure. That's probably why it's tighter than a lot of big SUVs or trucks would be. It's not exactly particularly communicative, but it is actually like a very tight ratio, which I do like. Let's, from a stop here, see how we do. The roads are a little wet, so this should be interesting. Very nice, very nice. It definitely gets up. I've got to put about 40 there. Not a lot of problem. Again, it's, once it's on the highway and cruising, then you can actually, I was doing like, I did 70 to about 95 to pass someone today without a problem. One compliment of it is, yeah, it does feel a little smaller than I thought it would. Like, again, the way they did this hood, not only does it look really cool, but yeah, you can also kind of see over a little better. That's pretty much equivalent to my vision. So, you know, you can see other cars and you can see over the overhangs quite well, so you know if you're going to be hitting something. It also has, of course, blind spot monitoring in the mirrors. Would I buy this with my own money is a little bit tricky because I wouldn't off-road enough to justify this over another very nice, luxurious type SUV. I wouldn't use those off-road capacities quite enough. I mean, this is up there with like a Range Rover. You know, there aren't many SUVs nowadays that can off-road like this, and that's where this has a very unique market position and probably is worth what you're paying for it. You can definitely, if it seems like a lot of money, look on the used market, save a little bit there. And I don't know if you're cross-shopping this with like a Range Rover, but want to keep a lower profile, you know, this serves that market very well. It is a lot of money, but you get a lot for it. So that's kind of the conundrum there. If you're just taking your kids to school and back, you know, there's a lot of other SUVs offered by even Toyota that have just as much space as this, but not as much off-road capacity, and therefore you don't pay as much as well. Just to give you a little bit more of that V8. than it kicks. This guy does have is it has a split console where next time my speedy racers drive on.